Hello everyone. Today we are going to try to get to the bottom of the mysteries and secrets of Mildenhall Manor. I hope it will be interesting and I will be able to surprise you with it. And I'm glad you're watching my channel again, where I tell you the most amazing secrets of the digital circus and make the most unexpected assumptions and hypotheses that are starting to come true. Click subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Sit back, and here we go. The main events of the third episode of Glitch Productions' Amazing Digital Circus take place in the Mildenhall Manor. Watching the third episode, we were breathlessly following the adventures of Pomni and Kinger. Their adventures took place in true horror style. And, in between, we were shown the others' characters of the digital circus. We were worried about the fate of Pomni and Kinger and were glad for the happy ending of their adventures. But after watching, you were probably left with a question. What was that? What is this estate all about? Let's revisit this estate together with you once again. From the tape recordings, we realized that some Baron Theodore Mildenhall and his wife Martha had lived on the estate long ago. The Baron called himself a hunter and said it was his hobby. Surprisingly, there are no stuffed animals or birds that the Baron hunted or any other trophies such as deer antlers in his trophy room. Instead, we see something gruesome on the walls of his trophy room. We also learn from the tape recordings that something lived on the estate. Some horrible creature that gave the Baron an inescapable dread. The Baron says he's been tracking the creature for years. Can you imagine? For years, the Baron walked around the house with a loaded hunting rifle and hunted down some creature. It's hard to imagine. It would certainly drive you crazy. In doing so, the Baron says nothing about his wife Martha. But from his story, we learn that one day, by some accident, the Baron mistook Martha for the horrible creature he had been hunting at home for years. And a terrible thing happened. Afterward, the Baron vowed revenge on the creature. And in the end, his revenge came true. It's just crazy. Besides, the Baron never told us what state Martha lived in all those years. Did she live in fear too? Or was it just the Baron who was afraid of this creature? Let's try to make sense of it all. Already the first glance at the building of the estate is perplexing. Around the house, we see many gravestones. What is this? Is this a cemetery in the courtyard of the house? It's horrible. Instead of a flowering garden, there are gravestones. Perhaps they are the graves of the former tenants of the house. But let's look inside the house. We realize that no one has lived in it for many years, but the lights are on everywhere. How is that possible? All right. On the other hand, when the lights are on, you can see something. Let's take a look. On the walls of the house, we see a lot of paintings. Usually in estates like this, the paintings depict the former inhabitants of the house. But here in some of them, we see something that doesn't look like normal people. Who are they? And who painted them? The Baron? The old inhabitants of the estate? Or maybe this house was abandoned before the Mildenhalls and some entity took up residence in it? Or monsters? And these new inhabitants of the house had so much fun and drew their portraits on the paintings. And then the Baron and his wife Martha settled in the house, and the entities that used to live there were very unhappy with the new tenants. And these entities decided to scare the new tenants so that the Mildenhalls would vacate the house, which the entities considered to be theirs. And the Baron didn't understand and decided to hunt the entities. He could have studied the paintings on the walls and wondered about it. But the Baron considered himself an excellent hunter, but he didn't succeed in hunting the undead. But the Baron didn't just walk around the house with a rifle. He was also gathering information about some kind of entity. It turns out these creatures didn't just live at Mildenhall Manor. In one of the rooms on the table, we see an old newspaper with the title, Monster Rumors. Full story on page. And on the drawing, we see some kind of creature. And on top of it is a Catholic cross. And in the desk drawer, we find a drawing of some creatures and a strange inscription. Did it ask for you it held? Maybe this creature couldn't speak and wrote a message to the Baron. Maybe it was referring to the rifle in its hands. It's not clear, but we look further. Next to this drawing in the desk is a notice, missing. Have you seen these men? At the bottom is written an award in 1800, and in the center of the ad is a photo of 3 men in late 19th century or early 20th century clothing. Their eyes are crossed out. Most likely they died in some circumstance. Also on the table are 2 hunting cartridges and a Catholic cross again. They must have been left by the Baron. And on the walls we again see portraits of strange creatures. In another drawer of the desk, we see 4 photographs. One of them is of the Mildenhall Manor, the other of some kind of white rhinoceros. It's not clear. And on the third photo is a picture of some kind of monster with several heads. Let's keep looking. On the corner of the table is another photo of a monster with a huge number of tentacles and eyes on them. Next to it is a drawing of the same creature as in the other pictures, and some note with illegible text. Now, nothing is clear at all. But we have another clue. There is a bookshelf next to the table. On it, you can see several books with a Catholic cross on them. Perhaps they are Bibles or books with prayers. Besides them, there's a book with the title Angel, and another book with the word Lovecraft. What's that? It turns out that in the early 20th century, there was a science fiction writer named Howard Phillips Lovecraft. He wrote a lot of fantastic stories about different creatures. It was he who first in history described and maybe invented zombies in their modern form. In his stories there are different, horrible creatures. Some of them have a large number of eyes and heads. I think we found the answer to all our questions. The creatures in the photos, drawings, and portraits are similar to the creatures in Lovecraft's stories. But then it's not clear how it could be that both the book and the photo were in the same room. It's possible that the Baron read Lovecraft's stories, and the whole story of the entities in the house is the Baron's sick imagination, and the portraits of some creatures on the walls of the house were drawn by the Baron himself. And so, intoxicated by his inflamed imagination, the Baron shoots Martha, mistaking her for a monster. And then the grief-stricken Baron went down to the wine cellar and for the rest of his life sat in the cellar, drinking whiskey. It's a terrible story. But we saw photos of some creatures, and a missing persons announcement, and Pomni and Kinger ran into one of them, and I think that some alien creatures have taken up residence in the estate and the area around the estate, and the people in the area got scared of them and started hunting them down. I don't know how that story might have ended, but maybe there was a man named Howard Lovecraft around somewhere. And he saw it all. And he went on to write many books about what he saw at Mildenhall Manor in the area around the manor. So that's how we solved the mystery of Mildenhall Manor. But one thing is still not clear to me. If all these events really happened, and Howard Lovecraft could see them, and only after that he wrote books about it, then how could his book appear in the house of Mildenhall Manor? Was it then brought there years later by someone? Could it have been Cain? What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe to channel and give it a like. Watch my channel. In the next video, I will tell you another real guess about the Mildenhall Manor mystery. It will be even more interesting and very mind-blowing. Take care of yourselves and don't go into abandoned houses.